Picture a small stone dwelling on the outskirts of Jerusalem. The evening air is cool and oil lamps flicker against limestone walls. Jesus sits with just 3 disciples, not the 12, 3, Peter, James, and John. The door is closed. What he is about to teach them will never be spoken in public, not because it is forbidden, but because most would not understand. Most are not ready. And the prayer he gives them in this moment, the one they will whisper to each other in secret for years to come, will never appear in any gospel that survives the council chambers of Rome. Tonight you are going to learn the words of that prayer, the prayer that was too powerful to be included in what became the Lord's Prayer, the prayer that grants direct access to the realm beyond the veil. And if you are watching this right now, if something pulled you to this exact video at this exact moment, that is not an accident. Subscribe to this channel right now and turn on notifications, because what you are about to receive has been hidden for 2,000 years, and the teachings coming after this go even deeper than what you will hear tonight. Right now, place both hands over your heart. Feel the warmth, feel the rhythm. That beating has sustained you every day of your life. But tonight you are going to learn about another rhythm, one that exists beyond your body, one that the secret prayer was designed to access. The prayer Jesus taught privately was not longer than the Lord's Prayer. It was shorter, 7 sentences, 43 words in the original Aramaic. And every single one of those words was engineered with precision to do something the public prayers could never do: open a doorway that most humans do not even know exists. To understand why this prayer was kept hidden, you need to understand what happened in that room. According to fragments discovered in a monastery in Sinai in 1892, fragments that were quickly seized by the Vatican and have never been fully published, Jesus had just returned from 40 days in the wilderness. But he did not return alone. He brought back knowledge about the architecture of reality, knowledge about how consciousness moves between realms, knowledge about the mechanics of prayer that the religious authorities of his time would have called blasphemy. The 3 disciples sat before him, and Peter asked the question that changed everything. "Master, you have taught us to pray to the Father, but when you pray alone on the mountain, we hear different words. What are you saying that we do not understand?" And Jesus looked at them for a long moment. He was deciding if they were ready, deciding if they could handle what he was about to reveal. Then he spoke words that would echo through secret Christian communities for centuries. There is the prayer for the multitude, and there is the prayer for those who remember what they are. The first prayer reaches upward, hoping to be heard. The second prayer does not reach at all, it unlocks. Take a slow breath right now. In through your nose, hold it, release completely. What you are about to learn requires your full presence, because this is not information. This is transmission. The Lord's Prayer, the one that appears in Matthew and Luke, the one recited in churches across the world, begins with "Our Father who art in heaven." This language establishes a relationship, a separation. You are here and God is there. You are below and God is above. You are human and God is divine. The structure of the prayer reinforces hierarchy. It is beautiful, it is comforting, but it is not what Jesus taught in private. The secret prayer begins differently. Not with "Our Father," but with a single word in Aramaic that has no direct English translation. The word is Allah, not Elohim, not Yahweh, Allah. This word does not mean Father, it means the cosmic breath, the unified field, the presence that breathes you before you breathe yourself. When you begin a prayer with Allah, you are not praying to something external. You are acknowledging the force that is living through you in this very moment. The difference is everything. Here is the first line of the secret prayer exactly as it was preserved in the fragments. "Allah, I am your breath in form, not I speak to your breath, not I worship your breath, I am your breath in form." Do you feel the shift? This is not a request. This is a declaration of identity, and this is precisely why the prayer could never be made public. Because if people understood that they were not separate from the divine, that they were not creations begging for mercy but expressions of the source itself, the entire power structure of religion would collapse overnight. The second line of the secret prayer goes even further. "What you think through me becomes my reality." Read that again slowly. "What you think through me becomes my reality, not what I think, what you think through me." This line destroys the illusion of separation completely. It says that the thoughts moving through your awareness are not generated by your small self. They are the divine mind experiencing itself through the lens of your human form. And when you recognize this, when you feel the truth of it, those thoughts gain creative power that ordinary thinking does not possess. If you are ready to receive the complete prayer, comment the words "Unlock the hidden prayer" right now. This is not just engagement. This is a signal to the algorithm that this teaching must reach others who are searching. It is also a declaration from you that you are prepared to handle what comes next. Because once you speak this prayer, once you activate its mechanism, your life will begin to reorganize itself around a frequency that most people never access. The third line of the secret prayer addresses something that no public teaching dared to mention. The veil, between the physical world and the realm of pure consciousness exists a barrier, not a physical barrier but a perceptual one. The Gnostics called it the firmament. The Kabbalists called it the parsa. Every mystical tradition has a name for it. This veil is not there to keep you out. It is there to keep the unprepared from accessing power they do not yet understand. But for those who remember what they are, the veil is not a wall, it is a doorway. The third line says this: let the veil recognize my origin and open. Not let me break through the veil, not let me someday be worthy to pass the veil. Let the veil recognize my origin and open. This language assumes authority. It assumes that you have every right to pass because you came from the other side to begin with. You are not an outsider trying to get in. You are an insider who temporarily forgot where home is. The veil does not respond to begging. It responds to recognition. Now here is where the prayer becomes intensely practical. The fourth line gives instruction about what to do once the veil opens. Show me what I agreed to before I took form. This line is based on something Jesus taught that was completely removed from canonical scripture. The teaching of pre-existence. Before you were born into this body, you existed in the realm of pure awareness. And in that state, you looked at the earth, you looked at this time, you looked at the circumstances of the life you are living now, and you agreed to it. Not as punishment, not as karma in the punitive sense, but as curriculum. You chose this life because it contained exactly the experiences your consciousness needed for the evolution it desired. But the moment you pass through the veil of birth, you forget. You forget what you agreed to. You forget what you came here to learn. You forget the mission encoded in your soul before you arrived. The fourth line of the secret prayer is a request to remember. And when you speak it in the state of awareness that the first three lines create, memory begins to return. Not as a voice, not as a vision necessarily, but as a deep knowing that begins to guide your decisions from within. Fifth line is the most dangerous. Dangerous to the systems that rely on your compliance. Dangerous to the forces that feed on your confusion. The fifth line says, let no authority stand between your voice and my hearing. In the public prayer, Jesus taught his followers to ask for daily bread, for forgiveness, for protection from evil. All of this language implies dependence, implies that you need something external to provide, to forgive, to protect. But in the secret prayer, there is no intermediary. No priest, no saint, no angel, no ritual, just direct access, the divine speaking to itself without interference. This is the line that made the prayer unpublishable, because every religious institution ever constructed depends on one thing: controlling access to God. If people could speak directly to the source, if they could hear the response without a priest to interpret it, the entire economy of salvation would collapse. Tithes, indulgences, confessions, sacraments, all of it becomes unnecessary when you have a direct line. Place your hand on the center of your chest right now, not over your heart but in the center of your sternum. The ancients called this the seat of the soul. Press gently, feel the solidity of your body. Now feel beneath that solidity. Feel the space inside the space. That is where the voice you are asking to hear lives, not in the sky, not in a temple, right there, closer than your own breath. The sixth line of the secret prayer shifts from speaking to listening. In the silence between my words, let me feel your intention moving. This is critical. Most prayer is talking, asking, praising, confessing, requesting. An endless stream of words directed upward, hopping. Someone is listening, but the secret prayer understands something essential. The divine does not communicate in words, it communicates in feeling, in knowing, in sudden clarity that arises without thought. The silence between your words is not empty, it is full of signal, full of guidance, full of the next step being delivered not as instruction but as inner movement. When you pray the secret prayer, you speak the lines and then you stop. You do not fill the silence with more words. You do not panic that nothing is happening. You wait, you feel, and in that space something shifts, not outside you, inside you. An intention that is not yours begins to move through your awareness. A direction you did not choose begins to feel inevitable. This is not loss of free will. This is alignment with a will that is larger than your small self but is still you at the deepest level. The seventh and final line completes the circuit. It brings the prayer full circle. And what I do with this knowing, let it serve the awakening of all. Not just me, not just my family, not just my tribe, all. This line prevents spiritual selfishness. It ensures that whatever power you access, whatever clarity you gain, whatever gifts are activated through this practice, they are not hoarded. They flow through you into the world. You become a conduit, not a container. And this is the safety mechanism built into the prayer. Because the divine will not give dangerous levels of power to someone who intends to use it only for personal gain. But the moment you declare that your awakening serves the awakening of all, you become trustworthy. You become a safe vessel for transmission, and the floodgates open. Now let me tell you what happens when you speak this prayer correctly. Not once, not as an experiment, but as a daily practice done with full presence and intent. The first thing you will notice is that coincidences stop feeling coincidental. Within days, sometimes within hours, you will find yourself in the right place at the right time with no logical explanation. People you need to meet will appear. Information you were searching for will arrive without effort. Obstacles that seemed insurmountable will simply dissolve. This is not magic, this is alignment. When you use the secret prayer, you're tuning your frequency to match the frequency of the source, and at that frequency you become visible to opportunities and invisible to interference. The second thing that happens is discernment sharpens. You will begin to know things without knowing how you know them. Someone will speak to you, and before they finish their sentence, you will feel whether their words are true or false. You will sense motives. You will detect agendas. Not through paranoia, but through clarity. The veil that keeps most people confused will no longer work on you. The third effect is protection. Not the kind where nothing bad ever happens, but the kind where you are guided away from danger before it manifests. You will get an impulse to take a different route and later discover there was an accident on your usual path. You will feel resistance toward a person or opportunity that looks good on the surface, and later events will reveal why. This is not luck. This is the guidance system activating. But I need to warn you about the resistance that will come. The moment you begin using the secret prayer, the moment you establish direct access to source, something will try to stop you. Not something external necessarily. Something inside your own mind. Thoughts will appear telling you this is absurd. Feelings will arise that prayer cannot be this simple. Distractions will multiply. You will suddenly remember urgent tasks right when it is time to pray. This is not failure. This is confirmation. There are forces in this reality, the ancients called them archons, that depend on humanity remaining disconnected from source. They do not have power over you, but they have influence, and their primary weapon is distraction, making you forget, making you doubt, making you too busy to maintain the practice. The secret prayer was taught to 3 disciples, not 12, 3. Because Jesus knew that most could not maintain the discipline required. Most would try it once, feel nothing dramatic, and return to familiar patterns. But the 3 who stayed with it, who spoke the prayer every morning and every evening without fail, became different. History remembers them as the inner circle, the ones who performed miracles, the ones who seemed to have abilities the other disciples did not possess. That was not favoritism, that was frequency. Here is how to use the prayer properly. Find a quiet space where you will not be interrupted for 10 minutes. Sit comfortably with your spine straight. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths, each one slower than the last. Then speak the 7 lines out loud, not in your head, out loud. Your voice creates vibration, and vibration is the language of creation. Speak each line slowly, feeling the meaning of the words, not just reciting them. Allah, I am your breath and form. What you think through me becomes my reality. Let the veil recognize my origin and open. Show me what I agreed to before I took form. Let no authority stand between your voice and my hearing. In the silence between my words, let me feel your intention moving, and what I do with this knowing, let it serve the awakening of all. After the 7th line, do not speak. Do not open your eyes. Sit in the silence for at least 5 minutes. This is where the real prayer happens. The words were just the key turning in the lock. The silence is the door opening. In that silence, you are not waiting for something to happen. You are noticing what is already happening. A warmth, a tingling, a sudden thought that feels different from your usual thoughts, a feeling of being held. Any of these signals mean the prayer is working. Do this every morning before the noise of the day begins. Do this every evening before sleep. Within 1 week, you will notice the first shifts. Within 1 month, people around you will comment that something about you has changed. Within 3 months, you will look back at your life and barely recognize the person you were before you started. Now let me tell you why this prayer was never included in the Bible. When the Council of Nicaea convened in 325, when bishops and officials gathered to decide which teachings would be canonical and which would be destroyed, they had a problem. Dozens of Gospels existed, dozens of different accounts of what Jesus said and did. They needed unity. They needed control. They needed a single narrative that would support the structure of the church they were building. Any teaching that suggested humans had direct access to God, any teaching that implied humans were divine sparks rather than fallen sinners, any teaching that eliminated the need for priestly authority had to go. The Gospel of Thomas was removed. The Gospel of Mary was removed. The Gospel of Philip was removed. And the teachings Jesus gave in private to his inner circle were removed, not because they were false, but because they were too true, too powerful, too dangerous to the system being constructed. For 1600 years, these teachings existed only in fragments, in whispers, in secret societies that passed them orally from teacher to student, until 1945. Until a farmer in Egypt digging for fertilizer near the town of Nag Hammadi struck his shovel against a clay jar. Inside that jar were texts that had been buried since the 4th century, texts that the church tried to erase. And among those texts were references to the private teachings, the prayers spoken only to the elect. The complete 7-line prayer you just learned was reconstructed from 3 separate sources: the Nag Hammadi codices, the fragments discovered in Sinai, and oral traditions preserved by mystic communities in Syria and Ethiopia who never accepted the authority of Rome. Scholars will tell you this prayer cannot be verified. They will say there is no proof Jesus spoke these exact words, and they are right. There is no proof, but there is resonance. There is the undeniable feeling that arises in certain people when they hear it. a recognition, a remembering. If you felt that, you are one of the people this teaching was preserved for. Comment the words "I remember the secret" below. Let other seekers know they are not alone. Let the algorithm understand this video must be shown to those who are searching. Like this video so it cannot be suppressed. Share it with one person you know who is ready, not someone who is curious, someone who is ready. There is a difference. Before I give you the final piece, the key that makes the entire prayer exponentially more powerful, you need to understand what you are participating in. Every time someone discovers this teaching, every time someone begins to use the secret prayer, the collective frequency of humanity shifts. Not dramatically, not all at once, but incrementally, one person at a time. This is not about religion. This is not about converting anyone to anything. This is about remembering. About waking up from the amnesia that every human is born into. About reclaiming the direct access that is your birthright. The final key is this: breath. In Aramaic, the language Jesus spoke, the word for spirit and the word for breath are the same. Ruach. When the prayer says Allah, I am your breath in form, it is not metaphor. It is instruction. Before you speak each of the 7 lines, take one conscious breath. Inhale slowly through your nose. Feel the air filling your lungs. Feel your belly expanding. Then exhale completely through your mouth. Then speak the line. This rhythm, breath then words, creates a pattern. 7 breaths, 7 lines, 7 activations. The number 7 is not an accident. 7 layers of the veil, 7 levels of awareness, 7 seals in the book of Revelation. The secret prayer works with the architecture of consciousness itself. Each line opens one layer. Each breath carries you deeper. By the time you speak the 7th line, you are in a state that most people never access outside of deep meditation or near-death experiences. A state where the membrane between you and Source becomes so thin it is almost transparent. Here is what the disciples reported after using the prayer for 30 days. Peter said he could sense what people were going to say before they spoke, not because he was reading their minds, but because he could feel the intention forming before it became words. James said he stopped fearing death because he could feel that his awareness existed before his body and would continue after. John said he began to see patterns in events, connections between things that seemed unrelated, as if reality itself was a language he was learning to read. These were not supernatural powers. These were natural abilities that activate when you remove the interference blocking them. The secret prayer removes interference. It clears the channel. It establishes a stable connection between your awareness and the source of all awareness, and once that connection is stable, everything changes. Let me tell you what to avoid. Do not speak this prayer flippantly. Do not treat it like a magic spell to get what you want. Do not use it to manipulate or control. The prayer works by aligning you with the will of the source. If your intention is selfish, you will simply be aligning yourself with your own small will and nothing will happen. But if your intention is genuine, if you truly want to remember what you are and serve the awakening of others, the prayer becomes a portal. Also, do not share this teaching with people who are not ready. You will know who is ready. They will be the ones who ask. The ones who sense you have accessed something they are searching for. Give it to them freely, but do not try to convince skeptics. Do not argue with mockers. This teaching protects itself. It will only take root in soil that is prepared. Finally, do not stop after a few days. The secret prayer is not a one-time event. It is a practice, a discipline. The disciples who received it directly from Jesus prayed it twice a day for the rest of their lives, not out of obligation but because they could feel the difference. They could feel the guidance. They could feel the protection. They could feel the presence that most people spend their entire lives searching for. Tonight, before you sleep, you are going to speak the prayer for the first time. Find a quiet space. Light a candle if it helps you focus. Sit with your spine straight, one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. Take 3 deep breaths, then speak the 7 lines, 1 breath before each line. Then sit in silence for as long as you can, 5 minutes minimum, and in that silence pay attention, not to what you see, not to what you hear, but to what you feel, a warmth, a presence. A knowing that you are not alone. That has always been the message. You are not alone, you have never been alone. You are the breath of the infinite in temporary form, and the secret prayer is how you remember. If this teaching has reached you, it is because you were ready. If something in you recognized the truth of these words before your mind could analyze them, that recognition is proof. You are one of the ones who agreed to wake up, one of the ones who carries a spark that no darkness can extinguish. The prayer Jesus taught privately was not kept from you out of cruelty. It was kept safe, hidden, preserved, waiting for the moment when you would be ready to receive it. That moment is now. Subscribe so you do not miss the next transmission. Turn on notifications because the teachings that follow go even deeper into the mechanics of consciousness and reality. And speak the secret prayer tonight. Speak it tomorrow morning. Speak it every day for 30 days and watch what happens, not to the world around you, but to the world inside you. That is where the real transformation occurs. 7 lines, 43 words, 2,000 years of waiting. One prayer that changes everything. You have it now, use it. And as you close your eyes tonight, remember this one final truth. The secret prayer was never meant to be mysterious. It was never meant to be hidden because it was dangerous. It was hidden because humanity was not ready to understand its own power. But you are ready now. The very fact that you found this video, that you listened to every word, that something inside you resonated with this teaching proves that you have evolved. You have prepared yourself, consciously or unconsciously, for this exact moment. The veil is thinner for you than it is for most. The connection is closer, and all you have to do is speak the words and listen in the silence that follows. The prayer does the work. Your only job is to show up with genuine intention and allow what is yours to be returned to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring enough about your own awakening to take this seriously. The world needs more people like you, people who are willing to question, to seek, to remember. Go speak the prayer. Go listen in the silence. Go become what you already are.